Guys, I'm coming at you again for the last part of the Supernatural Season 2 review, and this is part 2. This is for episodes 11 through 22. So let's get started. 11 is Playthings. This one was pretty good. It's about a imaginary friend that Tyler sees, called Maggie, but no one else can see her. And her grandma Rose or whatever, that was Maggie's little sister, was like catatonic. So Maggie was pretty much Maggie's evil, and she'll do anything to keep Tyler there. But Rose doesn't want that, and Sam and Dean have to figure out what's going on here. So it was a pretty good episode. Sadly, Rose had to die at the end. That way Tyler and her mother could leave. But yeah, case solved. This episode will get a 5 out of 5. Episode 12, Night Shifter. This one was about a robbery. Happens in a bank, so it's a shapeshifter. If you've seen the shapeshifter one from the last season, this one, yes, it's the same thing, but just happens in a bank. And they make Sam and Dean look like suspects, like they're killing people or whatever. So pretty much they have the cops coming after Sam and Dean. And sadly, they had a guy named Ron that was trying to figure it out. He's like, oh, it's the aliens with the laser eyes. And it was funny. I'm like, nah, that's just a superstition theory. The real fact is it was a fucking shapeshifter that was disguising himself as a bank clerk or whatever. Or bank manager. And now... And yeah, they figured out who it was, and they stopped the shifter and killed it. This episode will get a 5 out of 5 as well. Episode 13, House of the Holy, I think it's called. This was about they thought it was an angel or whatever that was coming to people and telling them to do these horrible things. But in reality, it was a spirit. Yeah, sadly, it was a spirit that was telling these people to kill these people. These evil people or whatever. One was a rapist. One was a pedophile. And one was a psychomaniac that really was trying to hurt this chick he was trying to go out with. So, yeah. And sadly, that psycho guy that actually slapped that chick actually did die. So, that kind of was God's will. This episode will get a 4.5 out of 5. It's a good episode, it's just... yeah. It's fine. 14, I believe it's the one where Sam's possessed by Meg. I kind of forgot the episode name. Yeah, where Sam gets possessed by Meg, and he thinks that it's something that's in him that's making him do it, but no. It was a fucking demon. Sadly. But yeah, they had to make sure they unpossessed. They had to trap Sam in the thing or whatever just to get the demon out. So you kind of know what that episode's about. This will get a 5 out of 5. 15, Tall Tales. This was about the trickster who, in I'm not gonna spoil anymore, just they run into the first time called the Trickster, who makes them see things kind of like screws around with their heads, makes them think that this person did it or whatever. So makes them go on a wild goose chase, and then they figure out who it really is. So Bobby has to be there to help them out to try to stop the trickster. So this episode was very good, and the he's the guy who plays the trickster is such a character. I can't tell you what his name is yet. Well, it's you kind of know who I'm talking about, and you know who it is. But I'll explain that in season 5 review. Episode 16. I think it's called Roadkill. I believe so. It's about this, what's her name? She's like, haunting that road for years or whatever. She died in 1992. She's looking for her husband named David or whatever. But sadly, David survived, and she was haunted by Greenlee or Greedy or something. His name was. This spirit or whatever was trying to stop her and make sure she didn't leave because she's the one that killed him. Technically. And it reveals all that in the end. And, yeah. She was just a spirit that couldn't move on. And she didn't realize it until the end. And, yeah. This episode was pretty touchy. And has an emotional feel for some parts of it. But it's very good. It'll get a 5 out of 5. Episode 17, Heart. This was about Madison or whatever, I think her name was, that Sam actually fell in love with. Who was actually a werewolf. But Sam thought he could find a way to cure her, but no, there was no way, sadly. And so Dean said, "I'm really sorry, you're gonna have to do it." And they were trying to find ways just to make sure that she could be cured or whatever, and make that way she doesn't become a werewolf again. And this episode was another touchy one, but still good. So 5 out of 5. Episode 18, which is the Hollywood, where they go to Hollywood or something, and it was pretty good. There's a ghost that haunts this guy or whatever, calls these spirits or whatever from this book, spell book or whatever he reads, and he's not supposed to do that. And these producers and directors kind of screwed with his script or whatever, and so he's trying to get revenge on these guys for fucking up his story, for fucking up his script for this movie. So he uses this book that releases these ghosts and kills off the directors, the producers, and all that. Sam and Dean have to go in and figure out who's doing it and what's going on. So it was a good episode, and yes, the guy died in the end by the ghosts because he threw down that talisman. So it's getting a 5 out of 5. This episode was good, but in the end, yeah, they still messed with the story. Episode 19, which was where Sam and Dean go to prison. I kind of forgot the name of it. And this nurse or whatever, a spirit, is haunting this prison and killing the prisoners. And Sam and Dean go to prison because they hit a trip alarm in a jewelry store. And it's Henderson, the guy from the bank robbery thing with the night shifter, is the one that catches them. So yeah, this episode was pretty good. The they actually get help from this cop or whatever, Deacon, who helps them out and gets them out of the prison after they find a way to get rid of this nurse who's the spirit that's killing these prisoners. And yeah, Sam and Dean's lawyer kind of gave their location or whatever, but wrong cemetery. So in the end, they were able to kill the ghosts, and they got away from the cops. So Sam and Dean are on the run, sadly. Episode 20, What Is and What Should Never Be. This was where they find a djinn or whatever. Well, Dean finds a djinn. And this djinn actually puts him in this sleep that makes him think that's the reality he's living in, but it's not. The reality he's really living in is he's hung up on a rope, getting his blood sucked out from this djinn or whatever. Like a transfusion thing or whatever. Or if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Sam sees his mom, and then he sees Sam and Jessica, and then this chick that he's, I guess, about to marry, I think. She's pretty hot. But yeah, this episode was pretty good. It's getting a 4.5 out of 5. And now for the final two. All Hell Breaks Loose Part 1. This is where Sam and the other psychic kids have to... Yellow-Eyed Demon's plans have finally come full circle and have been revealed. He gets sent to North Dakota. I'm trying to think of what the place is or whatever. It's a haunted place. I believe it is a true haunted place. And yes, the psychic kids have to... The Yellow-Eyed Demon's game is who's gonna be the number one champion in his mind. So pretty much they have to kill each other off. The first one that dies is chick who touches people and then they die. And yeah, she dies. She gets hung by this evil spirit. And then the next one that got killed off was Andy, sadly. And then it was Ava, because she was the one controlling the demon, because she did go missing in episode 10, and they didn't reveal that, so, yeah. And then Jake kind of turned his back on, Jake snapped Ava's neck, and then Sam and Jake were the last two left, and, yeah. Sam does find out that he has demon blood in him, because the Yellow-Eyed Demon shows him something. He comes to him in a dream. And then, yeah, Sam and Jake fight, and then Jake stabs him in the back when Dean's coming to Sam's rescue. So, yeah, Sam's dead. And final episode, which is All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2. I'm going to go through this real quickly. This is, Dean has to make a deal just to bring Sam's back from the dead, and he only gets 1 year. And so he wants to use enough time to stop the demons and all that. And then he goes to find Jake at the cemetery, where he's being led by the Yellow-Eyed Demon. He says, "Go that way and open a door for me." And so he goes into the cemetery, has the cult with him, and he opens the door, and Sam and Dean, Ellen, and Bobby are there too to stop him. And Jake does die by Sam's hands. And then the demon dies by their dad stopping him and delaying him. So, Yellow-Eyed Demon's dead by Dean's hands with the last bullet. And sadly, more demons are spun around in the world. And that will be revealed in the next Supernatural season. Season 3. I'm gonna give this season a 9 out of 10. It was very good. and it is worth the watch. And I will see you in the next video. I'm sorry if it's been delayed a little. I had to make sure I get it done quickly, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.